Everybody that comes in is just their own personal cycle or maybe one they got from a coach back in the day. Every once in a while though, I get one directly from an IFBB Pro. Well, the IFBB Pro is the coach. The client, on the other hand, was not impressed. In fact, so much that this person will not be hired again as a coach. Take a guess at who it is. Little hint, gay for pay. Once again, I am Seth Green. I run a fitness coaching company. I have been doing this for a couple of years now, but I have over 10 years in the field of health and fitness, including my career in physical therapy. This is my safe space for all the professional bros that want to chill out and turn their brains off and not have to act professional once in a while. If this content interests you, go ahead, make sure to drop a like or subscribe. If you like more of this, my Instagram is linked down below. And if you're interested in coaching offers, my ebook and my coaching programs are also in the links in the description. Go click them, have fun. So if you guys hadn't guessed yet, the gay for pay coach that handed out some very sketchy protocols was none other than Nick Trigili. Yeah, the same guy who's been kicked off of YouTube multiple times, got kicked off of Leo's podcast for scamming people and stealing fake transformations from other coaches to post in his previous coaching company. Now that he hired a marketing agency to help him a little more, not fuck it up on his end, he's starting to get a little more traction and post controversial training videos that just contradicts himself every time he fucking posts. So I figured in this case, we'll go over some of the screenshots sent in to me by the former Nick client, and then at the very end, we'll go over his cycle to cap off the video. That way you stay a little bit longer instead of clicking off after 3 minutes. Gotcha, motherfuckers. You gotta stay for this one. So as you can see, he was very happy he dropped Nick as a coach because Nick gave him a training program and gear protocol that was cookie cutter, and it didn't work for him. This guy said that he had better gains on his own training program, and the gear protocol was extreme, which is hilarious because Nick has said over and over again on his Instagram that if he had a do-over, he would lower the doses. He used to run too much. He makes sure that his clients stay healthy and they don't run high doses. Well, if this is a really low dose to you, Nick, then I cannot imagine what he was running back in the day. I'm talking, this is a first cycle. We're talking a couple grams. We'll get to it at the end. But not only was the cycle load a little questionable, but this guy was having a ton of anxiety and problems with his E2 not being dialed in. And Nick told him that he can't do blood work at week 8 because it's too soon. It won't work. It's not worth it. You have to stick it out. So he ended up just lowering the dosage of his AI on his own because his E2 was still crushed down to 19 and he wasn't feeling well on it. Now 19 is not a horrible number, but then again, if he didn't get the blood work within a day or two of taking the AI, it could have been raised up above that. So it sounds like Nick didn't give him good advice on how to run the AI or do the blood work. You see, this is why I hate it when coaches give out predetermined AI dosages, and Cam Jansen does the same thing. I have receipts. There's a new video on that one coming out soon. You would think these pro level coaches would have at least a little bit of professionalism and be up to date on the science and know that keeping your estrogen in range is more important than crushing it, especially in off-season phases. Like both of these cycles that have been sent to me by clients really show. There's just a lack of knowledge here. It's mind-blowing because these are the top coaches in the industry. It's a joke. And honestly, that's the reason why Coach Colton and I are making courses now in school that shows guys how to take yourself from this little pleb of nothing that doesn't know anything about lifting, giving you guys training protocols, nutrition books, nutrition knowledge, cookbooks, just about everything you can think of. Anything you would need to learn how to be a bodybuilding coach, all the information, the new research, all up to date, all in one spot in easy to digest courses. So we can just level up the level of coaching in bodybuilding because it's atrocious right now with how many bad coaches are getting away with really questionable practices. And we're both kind of fed up with it. So stay tuned. That group will be launching within the next week or two, I think. And then we'll build a community from there and hopefully really try to expand this. And my big hope is that by getting a big community of really good, interested people in that like a transparent approach, it's going to push a lot of these shitty coaches out of the way and they won't be getting clients anymore because everybody knows their style does not address people's needs like it needs to. Need to breathe through my nose, but I fucking can't. Don't put that in the video. So for the shit you guys care about, here's the first cycle that was sent in to me this week. 500 tests, 200 mass, 300 NPP axed by PavK11. I mean, that's solid. He gave me absolutely no context, so I don't know if this is a bulk, a cut, first cycle, second cycle, whatever it may be. Structurally, I mean, you hit all three testosterone family trees. You don't have to run an oral. You don't have to run GH. I don't know what your goals are, so I'll give you a 7 just because I don't know. A man is the doctor guy from the Philippines. He always asks a question. At what dose does PEDs at high dose cause immunosuppression? The fact you're trying to test that limit already shows you're probably blasting too much. I don't know why you want to figure out that limit, but yeah, if you're blasting high enough for long enough and your body doesn't get a chance to do its normal recovery functions, like, yeah, obviously you can get some immunosuppression. There's no like set number, and I personally wouldn't try to blast that high to figure it out either, if I'm being honest. Evil Tires asks, Cloud battle me Higa. I know what he was trying to say. I'm not saying the word. Cloud battle. I don't even know what that is, dude. All right, well, next one. Poppy with the beard. 800 test, 500 mass, 250 trend, 50 T-ball. T-ball's not my favorite oral, but it's not bad. Like, I'm not gonna knock you for it. If you like it, you do well on it, sure, whatever. 800 test, solid base, 500 mass, 250 trend. I like that. I don't know how many cycles he's done or anything like that, but structurally, I think it looks good. You only got one oral at a moderate dose. I'm giving you a 9 out of 10. Like, I don't have anything bad to say about this one. But once again, I don't have a lot of context from him in this specific one. Sometimes people will message me afterwards and I get a little more out of it, but that works for me. And then Yusef ZQ, 1200 testy, 1000 mass, 10 IUs GH. Doses are a little high. I'm not sure, as I said, how many cycles he's done or anything. I need to pause this and look at his account. Let me see if he's a little dweeb or if he's actually big. Yeah, this guy doesn't even look like he trains, so nah. Yeah, doses are a little high, honestly, and judging by profile picture, I can't see much else other than that. You probably don't need to be running that much gear, if I'm being honest. I'm okay with trying a high test base if this is like a subsequent cycle, but if this is only like your second or third one, man, I'd probably just lower the doses a little bit. 10 IUs of GH is fine if you've built up to it before, but if this is your first time running it, you probably only need 4 to 6, if we're being honest. Like, you want to scale things up progressively as you go along. If you start at the top of the range, like you start out 2-3 grams, you don't have anywhere to go when you want to grow besides pushing doses even higher, and generally you kind of feel like a shit once you're above 3 grams anyway. So I always tell people, use the lowest effective dose. If there's certain compounds you want to try or you do well on and want to use, that's fine too. I need to stop slamming my desk because it makes the camera shake, and my editors hate it when it makes the mic pop when I do it too. But yeah, if you're super high already on doses, you have nowhere to go but keep going up. I always advocate for starting, you know, that first cycle low at 250, 300 or so, and you're gonna scale that up over the course of a year. By the end, you might be at a gram a test, but you want to just extend those growth phases as much as possible and really try to stay lean. And the GH will help with that. If this is a growth phase and you are lean, I don't disagree with running 10 IUs of GH. So for Yusuf, I mean, it's not the worst cycle in the world. I do think it's a little high for what I can tell from your profile, unless it's a really old picture and he's actually like fucking massive, but I'm gonna give it like a 6 out of 10 for right now. And now we have the TikTokers coming in. I cross-post everything to TikTok, but I only check it once a week. I don't really respond much on there. So I had a few people on TikTok ask me to review their cycles. They'll get to see it now. But I told them for all future videos, just go ahead and message me them on Instagram because I don't check TikTok. One of them that came in as a request was from Coolman7711995. Rate my cycle 500 test, 300 primo, sometimes 350 primo. I never change it, nor will I ever. Gives me sides best clean look with no side. I mean, if you're never gonna change it, I don't know why you want to know my opinion on it. I mean, that's a solid, like, I'd say second cycle, but if you want to run that perpetually and you're just trying to look a little better, like, I get it. But if you want to make progress, you're probably gonna have to push up a little bit if you've been running this for years. And there's a certain level where you're just gonna kind of stagnate, and it's basically like being natural, because, you know, when you hit your natty limit or you hit that like slow down point where you're barely putting on any mass every year, you get the same thing with gear. Like, you have to start bumping the dose up to really put on appreciable amounts of mass. But if that's not your goal, I understand. By his profile picture, I don't know if that's actually him or not, but it looks a little heavier on there. If that is the case, I'd say you probably need to lean out a little bit, and then you might make even more gains off there just by being leaner and improving your body composition. But he might be freaking shredded at this point. I don't know. He doesn't have any posts. So I'd say there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not like freaking out. You could do more. So let's give it a 7 out of 10 and call it a day. All right, and for the second TikToker, Waylon, 750 test, 50 anadrol. Wait, what the fuck? All right, I think there's typos here. So 750 test, 50 anadrol, that makes sense. 40 EQ is probably 400, and 400 trend. I don't mind this cycle. I guess gonna surprise some people, but I do think EQ, tren, and anadrol can lead to pretty explosive gains in certain cases. You want a good test base, and I mean, this is obviously on the riskier end. So if this is a competitive bodybuilder or you're trying to put on mass fast, doesn't do well with NPP, that would be the next option is EQ, tren, and then anadrol is always a good off-season oral. I would look at more Anavar or Winstrol if it was a cut, honestly. But anadrol as a builder typically works a little better than those two. Then again, if you have gyno issues, I would not run anadrol. I would use Anavar instead. Anavar still gives you a very good power output and more of a hard look instead of that big bubbly anadrol look. In terms of rating that one, I like that cycle a little more than I should. Tren's a little on the high side though. Like you can get away with 150 to 300 tren most likely. I'm gonna give you an 8 out of 10 on that one. And for the one you've all been waiting for, the Nick Trigili beginner starter cycle. Now, I gotta make sure that I comment accurately on this one and just report the facts because Nick makes his clients sign legal documents to not talk about their cycles because he does not want his very questionable approaches blasted out there in public. Anytime a coach makes you sign an NDA, I would question that. But it's first cycle ever. Guy's never done gear. This is what he was recommending. 16 weeks, 750 tests, 450 primo, a 1/4 milligram of 8x twice weekly, titrated up to 2 milligrams of 8x a week. All doses will be titrated up. That's a first cycle from Nick. You know, the guy that constantly posts about people need to lower their cycles. I used to take too much. I would never do that with my clients. Bro, you're putting him on over a gram to start with and planning on titrating up over 16 weeks and titrating up the 8x without doing blood work. The problem this guy had with Nick, not even just the doses itself, but he was having bad anxiety and problems because he put him on 8x on day 1, crashed his estrogen before he even let the test saturate, and then he was playing catch up the whole time because his estrogen had been absolutely crushed. So he starts this guy out with crushed estrogen, no test, like his body's shutting down his testosterone. Then he just puts him on a huge blast as a first cycle. Like that is so irresponsible. And 16 weeks is pretty short to begin with because it takes you 6 weeks for the test to really kick in on that very first cycle. So he's basically on for 10 weeks and then scaling his doses up over those 10 weeks aggressively. That's legitimately like malpractice at that point. So not only that, but Nick also wouldn't take any of his feedback into account. He asked for blood work a little before 8 weeks because he wasn't feeling well, and Nick told him that blood work would be useless before 8 weeks. Don't do it. Dude, like you crushed his estrogen into the dirt. He's having anxiety and feeling like crap because you put him on ADEX from day 1. It just blows my mind. It's really sad to see some IFBB pro level guys that have competed on the big stages just completely neglect clients and use their authority to get more clients in, turn it into kind of a coaching mill, but not really do best by the client and make sure that they're getting the best care possible. And that's why I tell people, like, before you hire a coach, go ahead and get on a call with them. Unless they put out a lot of content and you really trust them, get on a call with them, kind of vet them, see what their approach is, have them show you their protocol. If they're doing shit like Camp Jansen, where they put everything on an iPhone notepad and send that to you as their protocol where they just copy and paste it to every client, I would not hire them. Make them show you their fucking training protocols. Make them show you their PEDs, their diet, their interface, just a little bit. Give yourself some research to know what you're getting into before you go ahead and pay them $400 a month for some cookie cutter program they're just copy and pasting to everybody. And then when you ask for help, they either ignore you or tell you, no, you got to wait till week 8 before I do anything. So you got to pay 2 months. You got to pay me $800 before he does anything. Is that good coaching? Imagine if you were playing football and your coach is like, bro, we got to wait till week 8. Like, we can't make any changes to the offense. We're going to go 0-8 in a 17-week season, but we're not making any changes. We're just gonna go defeated. We're gonna be like the fucking Browns back in the day, going 0-16. Like, it just blows my mind. Like, make changes when they need to be made and try to set people up for success. And people will be happy. Even if you fall short, things happen. As long as you're transparent and you're working with the person and really trying to dial it in, they will still appreciate it at the end of the day. It doesn't always work out perfectly. I mean, you should have the majority of your clients have really good results. Every once in a while, there's a really tough case where you just need to dig in and try other things. I understand that. But if you're transparent with that person, you work really hard with them, and you do everything you can to get them better, they're going to appreciate that because you actually heard them out and took their feedback into account instead of just handing out cookie cutter programs and focusing on your marketing, assuming he even does the programs. Allegedly, I don't know. In the past, he wasn't doing them, but I think he does now because the people I've heard from says that he does actually respond to them by text now. Things have improved a little bit since his days doing Gay for Pay and getting kicked off of Leo's podcast for scamming people in the past with his coaching services. So in terms of rating this cycle, I'm giving it a 1 out of 10. Why 1? Because there's no trend or anything else reckless in there, but starting off over a gram on your first cycle and expecting them to titrate up and feel great, having their estrogen already nuked by Arimidex before they even get on the test all the way, is just... ridiculous. I don't have a great word that I can say that won't get me in trouble on YouTube. So if you like this content, go ahead, follow me on Instagram at the official Seth Green. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know down below what your cycles are and what you think about Nick's first cycle, if that's something you would run for your first cycle.